From the Bent Pixel Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Phone Booth Fighting. It's a podcast, it's free, it's weekly, and it covers the world of mixed martial arts and so far beyond. It is the brainchild of myself, Richard Hunter, and you, sir.
I'm Frank Mir.
You're Frank Mir, the two-time UFC heavyweight champion. You're also aware you're a current Bellator heavyweight contender. You got that email, right? Okay.
Received that one.
Okay, good.
Still working on it.
Next fight coming up December 14th in Hawaii, taking on Javi Ayala. He will be coached by this man. That's Carl Prince. We call him Princey. He's Frank's striking coach, and he is. I was saying this last night. Princey is like when the sitcom has been on for like 6 successful seasons, and the original kids that were cast to be cute are getting a little bit older, you know? So the writers are like, okay, we got to add a new character right about...
cute character.
A new cute character right about season 7. And so they bring Princey over from across the pond to...
Yeah, I have no standing in porno films like my...
Like Porno Mikey,
yeah,
right. Yeah, that's what we did on this podcast. Year 3, we added Porno Mikey to new character because we weren't as cute as we were, Frank and I, when we started this thing. But Princey is not only coaching Frank, but he's literally moved into stately Mirror Manor. So you've got him out there in the guest house.
A baptism of fire.
I'm telling you, man. How has that been for you?
Oh, it's been fantastic, mate, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
You know yourself, the mayor's a very hospitable area.
I know. Now, is that anything like you're living over in England, like the family with the 3 kids and all that, or is that different for you?
It's completely different in the fact that there is a family with 3 kids, but they don't want me for everything, so it's quite entertaining, yeah, to watch it develop in front of your eyes and see, maybe see some of the things that I've not been doing so great, or maybe some of the things that I've been excelling at, more so the latter, to be fair. But,
yeah. This is like you're like an exchange student of pugilism.
It's a great way of looking at it,
yeah. But that's pretty handy. I mean, when you think about it, because you not only have the striking coach living in the house, but Frank's not the only fighter in the Mir family anymore. So Bella's got a ready-made...
I thought you was talking about Mrs. Mir.
Oh, yeah. She's got a long, accomplished amateur record, for sure. But, yeah.
Unparalleled around these parts, mate.
Sure. But yeah, Frank, I mean, that's got to be pretty cool for Bella, because she's got a striking coach right there in the
Absolutely.
Well, 2 now, I guess, technically.
We've taken advantage of it a couple times when, between her busy schedule. She's come to the park a couple times and worked out with us, or worked out in the back. Even on nights that I had it off, she was out there back there with Princey.
Yeah, well, guess what? She's not going to be the only person taking advantage of it, because I'm going to start showing up over there for a few late night sessions. It's getting down to crunch time here. We're 6 weeks maybe now from my big amateur debut, so I'm gonna need the extra help, and he's been kind enough to offer. All right, so what we thought we would do is just kind of have a little free-form discussion. We're actually standing by waiting on a guest to tape, and we haven't gotten confirmation that guest is going to be available, so we were up here in studio anyway, so we thought we would all get together and do this, but we're going to keep it a little general, a little I won't say generic, but undated, let's say, because we don't want any news items to expire. I'll tell you what we should probably do first, Frank, since we had been off for a few weeks and we chronicled all of our woes on the last couple of episodes, but one of our crew, we have one crew member, Porno Mikey. He was the only one of us who wasn't missing shows because of something horrible. In fact, it was something quite nice. He has wed his longtime gal pal, Amanda.
Yep.
And congratulations on that, Mikey.
Thank you.
We really haven't gotten a chance to chat about that yet. Now, you, how long were you two together?
It'll be 4 years in February.
That's a good number. Right away, I say that's a good number. Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think people sometimes rush into marriage a little too quickly, and I think that's contributes to a lot of divorces because you don't really know somebody until a couple of years, right?
Yeah, maybe 3 years, something like 4 is definitely a solid number.
I have a little bit of a formula with this. I think obviously when you start dating a girl, the first 3 months are like heaven.
Yeah.
But once the 3 month gets by, you get past the small talk, the particular, then they really start to expose the crazy. So if between the months of 3 and 48, you're still interested, Mike, you've probably picked the right horse, mate.
Yeah. I hope so. I think so. So that'd be good,
yeah. Now tell us a little bit about your wedding, because you had the misfortune to do it on the day of the Conor McGregor Khabib Nurmagomedov fight.
Well, we picked that date first. I want to put that on the record.
Sure.
So I was a little upset because every dork with red hair came into town, and a lot of my family, they're simple Midwesterners. So trying to rent a car, they wanted to kind of make a weekend out of it. We got married at Mount Charleston, which is about an hour from Las Vegas. So they wanted to stay in Vegas, around the time. And then hotel prices went up. Renting a car took an hour instead of 25 minutes, and they had to deal with people going, "Oh, you're here for the Conor McGregor fight?" Like, no. But other than that, it was good. Yeah, but we did pick the date first. So I don't know.
What did you do? Now, tell us a little bit about the wedding. What was the layout? Because as we explained, we had all manner of I had pet tragedy going on in my life, and Frank had a homecoming. He seems I would have guessed a little old to go to the homecoming dance, but au contraire, Frank's making up for a misspent youth.
On a side note, did you know what happened with me on that?
No.
So they tell me Bella's going on homecoming just with a bunch of her girls.
Yep. Hang on. This may be hang on. This might be our guest. Hold on one second. Okay. Hello. You know what? I'm going to be really glad when election season is over. Does anyone else get these calls? Is anyone else?
I don't.
Amanda
if your
gets
number's
texts.
not in my phone under a name,
You don't answer, so you wouldn't even know.
I would know.
I don't know if this happens over in, it probably doesn't happen over in England, because other developed countries have much better, campaign finance laws and regulations and things like that than we do. But I get a ton of robocalls now don't worry, I'm voting for sure. I'm definitely involved in the process, but I'm getting all kinds of calls from candidates, and the mailbox is stuffed with paraphernalia and all that. So anyway, that's what just happened right there. Sorry, robo lady, I had to hang up on you because I'm in the middle of my podcast. All right, Frank, so you have a homecoming story.
So Bella had homecoming. She's going with a bunch of girlfriends, and they're going to eat dinner. They have a limo to take them to the dance and then back. So my wife said, "Oh, well, all the parents, they're going to rent, while they have their dinner, we're going to be in the restaurant and eating dinner together and get to know each other." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." I'm like, so there'll be other parents there, right? Multiple? Yeah. And I'm thinking that means the male and the female,
Right. It usually takes one male, one female
plural,
to get it going.
And so then I show up and I find out I'm the only husband that's there.
No.
Yeah. And the only reason why I was it. Just
Everybody's husband was there, and they were called Frank Mayer by the sounds of it. Yeah.
So So anyways, my complaint was that hey, Bella already has a hard time in school sometimes because of who her dad is. And I'm like, and now I'm the fucking guy, the only one that shows up to watch his daughter's keep an eye on her while she's just with females.
Yeah. What was the nature of the dinner conversation? Was there a lot of MMA talk, or what was at the table?
I did see him get his makeup.
I was at the table with a bunch of women.
I did see him get makeup the week after. Only maybe 6 days after the homecoming, I witnessed him sit there while someone administered makeup to his face.
This is true. But I was getting paid for it, right? No.
Yeah.
As most people that administer makeup to their faces.
So you're saying Clash of Clans cranked right up. You didn't even try to assimilate.
Anytime we talk about social topics, I'm big into philosophy. I like those discussions. But if you talk about a particular person or, an event, maybe I can draw something from the event, but I'm not too much into who's said something to so-and-so. So.
All right. Hold on. We're coming back to your wedding in a second, Mikey. Your wedding gave way to homecoming talk. So hold on a second. Well, it's okay. We're weaving in and out of the 3-lane, 4-lane highway of podcasting here. It's okay. So, all right. So back to the homecoming then, Frank. Now, I remember the concept of homecoming from high school, so I have a few questions. Now, this is when the football team, generally, they build the concept around the football team. This is not soccer, by the way, Princey. This is like the American football. So what happens is
a sport you don't use your feet, but we'll talk about that another day. Yeah.
So they generally do it in the fall, and they manufacture a rivalry with another school somewhere, and they build the whole thing up like, oh my gosh, we got to beat this team or else we've embarrassed ourselves. And so then they have the homecoming. So everybody turns out for the big game. Now, now does she go to a 4-year high school?
Yes.
Okay, and she is a freshman now? Okay, so she is the first year of the 4 years of the high school. Okay, so I assume that all of the high school is invited to the homecoming, and you got
freshmen through seniors.
Okay, all right, and then now what do they do? Do they do like a dance or a ball or what's that function?
They had a dance, and I think at their age, Bella said that no one's on the dance floor. Just all sit at tables and talk.
Mm-hmm. Did you see this yourself? Were you a witness to this?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
Parents weren't allowed in.
Oh, okay. And so
I was only a witness to the dinner before.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now what about the because when I was in high school, certainly you had girlfriends going with girlfriends and guys who go with guys, whatever. But also you had you had the sexes asking each other out on dates. Was that ever on the table, or are we still too young for that?
Still too young for that one.
Yeah. Says you or says Bella?
Says Bella too.
Okay. All right.
She seems to understand.
Okay.
Bella, in a lot of ways, is very easy for me to talk to because all I have to do is say that it's going to make her run slower, not jump as high, or maybe affect her GPA. But she's not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hawaii.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Bella, to go to my fight, we're really getting far away from the wedding. But
that's okay.
Sorry,
plenty of time. We're coming back. He's going to be married for a while. We're coming back.
So that week for them to go to my fight is the week before their last week of the semester. Okay. So they have finals. So Bella doesn't want to go to my fight. She wants to stay home and study and prepare for finals because her idea of missing Thursday and Friday is going to set her back. And I understood. I had no problem with it. So and then she's coming with us now. And so to make it better for her, and I thought about it, I was like, well, you're old enough now. Would you like to be in my corner? So I'm going to have her in the corner for the fight.
Oh, excellent.
That's cool.
Is she wearing the backpack?
For the corner itself? Maybe.
I could maybe, it's if we could do a little side camp, I could work through with her like the intricacies of
Bella's extraordinarily disciplined, so
sure.
She'd have it down.
I think she'd be a quick study, no problem. Okay, so that's not happening. Now, here's another question, because when you said homecoming, and this, I don't know if they did this in the Midwest, Mikey. This created big question marks the other day. But back in my day, homecoming meant that you had to, you didn't have to, but it was going to be a problem if you didn't. Whoever your date was to homecoming, you had to get them a mum, like a flower, not like your mom.
I thought it was a corsage.
Well, it is. I mean, it is a corsage, but it's the flower itself is the mum, okay? But rather than, the typical corsage you think of, not like at Mikey's wedding where there's like the little boutonniere and the little, flower on mom or whatever. This is, a mum, like a good-sized flower here. But this is the way it was in Texas anyway, because high school football was a big deal. There would be hanging from it, and I mean a lot of times down to the floor, all manner of ribbons that were decorated with the high school's name and little charms like footballs and bells and stuff that would hang off of it. No. And the day of homecoming, all the girls would wear these in high school and walk around with, like, it was almost like whose is bigger, I mean, it was like a status symbol.
Big peacocking session, huh?
Basically, yes, but for the girls, it was like Valentine's Day with my red roses, who got the biggest bouquet, that kind of thing. And it was a big deal. And I mean, I remember there was even a little debate with my girlfriend because, I mean, to me it was gaudy. I was like, who in the world wants to walk around? Turns out my girlfriend wanted to walk around with it. So, you know, learn
Hopefully
that.
you didn't talk about that before you found out.
Well, we did, but I ended up acquiescing. But yeah, so no one. That's totally foreign to everybody, right?
Ours, I graduated in 05, and it was always just like what you talk about, the regular boutonniere or corsage or whatever you call it. Just it wasn't any particular flower. Just it was a flower thing that you pinned onto the dress or tied to the wrist or whatever.
While we're talking about this, see if you can pull up an image. Just I don't know, search like high school homecoming mum. Okay. Try that. Let's see what we can come up with.
A lot of those were just words to me.
Sure, of course.
I'm so disappointed with what you've done with our language. What is a boutonniere? In fact, the only thing that I'm happy with is Richard used the short term for mother. The first correct time I've heard it since I got here.
The what term? Which one?
Mum.
Oh yeah, for your mom. Yeah. You know what? That right there is always an ace in the hole for the Brit.
Here's what you're talking about.
More look at this thing.
So there's the flower, and they put ribbons on. I've never seen that. Till
now look up there. There's somebody wearing one, I think.
I've never even heard the word mum corsage before.
That's ridiculous. Whatever she's got on. That's okay. Look at the dad.
So that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Go back.
That was the buffer.
Okay, go down. See that? I don't know if that's see right there. Yes, click that. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh wow.
I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, me either.
It's ridiculous looking, right?
Oh well, 12 things non-Texans need to know. So it must be a Texas specific.
Oh shit!
I guess it is.
Good catch, buddy.
Yeah. Like big hair. Maybe see some of those other ones right down there.
So that's a Texas thing.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We got a minute. Go back to the 12 things non-Texans need to know about homecoming, because I'm not even sure I know all these things being a Texan.
So is this guy?
Okay. All right. So let's see here. 12 things non-Texans need to know about homecoming. Okay. Mums can be funny is number 12. Hey, this may be our guy. Frank, take us through the list here for a second.
Not all mums are serious and gigantic. Some are small and funny, like this mum. And son's mum. Mum are a form of personal expression as a teenager, and this is a perfect example. Have you even heard the word mum used like that
I've
before?
heard of that as a
flower. I've seen it as a flower. Yeah.
So this is...
Bro, like, I've never even heard... If you would have said mum, I'm thinking mom.
Yeah.
If you was going to guess who actually wrote the content for this website, what gender would you guess?
I would say woman.
Yeah.
I'd say a great guess.
Yeah. So they did a play on Mumford and Sons, the band, for their corsage. Okay, that's weird.
Okay, here. The mum started as a simple flower. We aren't crazy people, weird maybe, but not crazy. The tradition didn't come out of nowhere. It started out several decades ago as a simple...
Chrysanthemum.
Thank you. I never would have got that word.
That must be what mum's short for,
Yeah.
chrysanthemum.
Oh, that could be.
Oh, good catch there, buddy.
So they just...
I'm here all week, actually. Yeah.
Gift from a boy to a girl.
Huh. And guys give them to their homecoming date, as Richard explained. Guys also... Girls give guys one called a garter.
Yeah, it's supposed to keep your stockings up back in the day, right? 'Cause in England, we get the woman has a garter at a wedding. Do you do that?
Yeah, we do that here. You got to take the garter off for two.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We didn't do that. We nixed that.
Oh, yeah,
but that is a tradition,
It is
right?
a wedding tradition, yeah.
And you're not supposed to use your hands or something like that?
Supposedly, yeah.
Did you feed one another cake?
Yes, we did. Cupcakes, but yeah, we did that one.
No one got nuts?
No, she was very specific that that would...
That is a bold move if you could smash cake in the bride's face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're a savage, bro.
No,
I get scared watching other men do that to their wives.
Of course. Women probably have like 3 days to look forward to, don't they?
Yeah.
Since they were born.
And you just fucking pissed on one of them, the number one.
Cake and number one.
You're right.
That's some manipulation control for me.
Right, yeah.
I'd be
major...
content with that.
Yeah, you're right. That's impressive.
You could be the cake guy. Here he is, the cake guy.
You couldn't pay me money to do that shit.
No. Yeah, and that was like, when we first got engaged, one of the things she said is like, you're not putting cake in my face. Don't even think about it. And I was like,
Did she mean cake or?
Yeah, I think she meant cake, yeah. Not cake, not icing.
All right, we have how are we coming with our list, Frank, for the non-Texans?
We're blown away. This is why it is a Texas thing.
Yeah. Okay. I tell you what we're gonna do. We
didn't figure out where the word mum came from.
So let's hold on this, and let's hold on Mikey's wedding.
Okay.
And I got more questions about homecoming, but we do have our guest secured. So let's pause for that, cue him up, and you're not going to notice a thing. We're just going to be like poof, and then all of a sudden the guest will appear. Watch this. Frank, joining us via FaceTime right now is the Executive Vice President for North America of DAZN. You're familiar with DAZN because you were broadcasting on DAZN last weekend for back-to-back Bellator cards. It is Joe Markowski. Joe, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you coming on.
No, not at all. Thanks for having me, and pleasure to be here.
Yeah, where are you coming from? We just caught you getting off an airplane somewhere, right?
Yeah, I've been in London for a few days. We had a lot of internal meetings, but I'm here in Boston. Obviously, our show tomorrow night at the TD Garden. So I'm in the Fight Hotel here in Boston, and catching up with Eddie and the guys, ready for an exciting show tomorrow night.
Yeah, we've been talking about DAZN on the show for, gosh, it seems like maybe a couple of months now because, Frank, we had Scott Coker on to break the news that he had partnered with DAZN to start airing Bellator content, and that was big news, but you guys are not stopping there, Joe, because also in recent days we've got the news that you have done a blockbuster deal with Canelo Alvarez. I mean, the most sought after in his prime pro boxer on the face of the planet right now, and you guys have got his exclusive rights for the next 5 years in an unprecedented deal. Let's start there. Tell us about how that whole thing came together.
Yeah, look, fantastic deal, and I think for us, it's obviously we were very confident when we came into the US market that we would strike deals like that. I think. It's important for us to have delivered on that promise because we've made some strong statements about our entry to this market, and look, it's exactly the kind of deal that we set out to do. He was the king of pay-per-view, and we are obviously not operating on the same model. But for us, it's a huge coup. It's a global deal. So Canelo in the US as well as in all of our international markets, and it's a long-term 11-fight deal at least. So we're very excited by that.
What do you think, Frank? I mean, in terms of the way that impacts the pay-per-view model, I mean, it's like it really turns it on its head. The old way of every time there's a fight, $70, $80, that kind of stuff. Now all of a sudden, it's a $10 subscription gets you exclusive access. What did you think when you heard about this?
I'm actually happy from the fighter point of view because I mean everybody can relate to it as a customer purchasing. Spending $60, $70 at a time. It gets expensive. But from a fighter's point of view, you always want to be seen. So having platforms like this out there where you know that people have a monthly subscription and they'll go through, so you don't have to make sure that you're lined up on a card that everybody wants to see to be seen and to get your name out there. So it works also on that aspect of us.
What about that, Joe? The fact that if you're Canelo, but even if you're just one of the other fighters whose content is associated with DAZN, like Frank via Bellator, that you can point people to the DAZN app, not only when you have a fight, but also just for your archive content, that sort of thing, and say, listen, this is my exclusive digital media home. Partner with DAZN and you partner with me if you're a fan of my fighting.
Absolutely, it's a really good point. It's an important one. We don't want to be the sort of peak and valley broadcaster who has content one weekend and then goes dark for weeks at a time. We're not going to operate like that. It's not how subscription businesses work for obvious reasons. We need to keep our platform active. We want to keep our fighters active as well. If you look at prior to our deal with Oscar and the Golden Boy guys and Canelo, our deal with Eddie Hearn, what he's done in the UK is build a really impressive roster of fighters who are active and therefore delivering on an almost fortnightly basis. Those guys are putting on premium shows in the UK now, and we're making some moves now. This is our second show coming up this weekend in Boston after our sort of opener with Matchroom USA in Chicago last month. There's plenty more where that came from. That's a 16 fights a year deal, so more than one a month. That's just one content source, right? So for us, it's about having a regular offering and building a home of fight sports, obviously with premium names topping that up for us, it's about regularity and maintaining that subscription base. So bring them in for the major moments, introduce them to the fighters they haven't yet seen, and that's only good for fighters. It's an excellent point. It's an introductory vehicle that fighters can use as a platform to build on and to grow their own careers. And you can't do that if only a wealthy demographic of people can watch your shows on a $90 pay-per-view on top of a $200 a month cable subscription. The working man en masse can't afford to do that. So if we feel by opening up the content, premium content, and as well as regular content at an affordable price point, one that's realistic for the wider population, that grows the boxing audience, grows the engagement those guys have with boxing content, and that's only a good thing for fighters, it's only a good thing for sponsors, it's a good thing for the industry generally. So in a nutshell, that's the model, and the Canelo deal accelerates that.
It also seems like it's just keeping up with the natural evolution of technology, because I think about it, we've gone in just a few years from, okay, there's a pay-per-view, I have to be at home in front of my satellite dish or my cable box to watch this, to I want to be able to see it on my phone, I want to be able to see it on my iPad. Not only that, I want to be able to have it archived if I can't watch it live. I mean, everybody sort of lives off their phones now, and just having, being constantly signed into the DAZN app on my phone, Frank, I know it's always there no matter where I'm going to be.
Actually, absolutely, and you're right. It's with the current times, because it's been 3 years since I've had cable channels in my house. I mean, I pay a cable fee to have internet, and once we go internet, everything's off of apps that the family, we watch TV. It's whether it's Netflix is, what I mean? Yeah. Now DAZN, I mean, the different channels out there. I mean, the UFC, when they brought their, everybody does things off of applications now. It's easier, more convenient, and the cost is so much better. You're not getting killed, when a big fight comes up.
Was that a lot of what you guys saw as a company, Joe, that, this is obviously the direction everything is moving, we're going to get out in front of it and kind of be trailblazers in that regard?
Yeah, so it's important to call out our ownership structure prior to the Spotify float had a major investment in Spotify. They own all of Warner Music. So they've watched the evolution of those businesses, both from a rights ownership and a product perspective, long before we launched DAZN, right? So back end of 2014, I was part of a small group of reformed DAZN employees, long before it was called DAZN, who were briefed with go out and work out what a play for us might look like in sport for OTT. Because our investment, our board, saw how successful this can be. And I think early in 2015, Q1 or Q2, it was the first quarter of growth in the music industry after 24 consecutive quarters of decline, because streaming had got to a certain point in music where it was bringing an audience back to music, and illegal spend was disappearing, and legal spend by a new product was increasing. So we knew that wave with all forms of entertainment. Netflix and Spotify are two globally dominant examples in entertainment and music. There isn't a global player yet in sport who has that level of success. We are well on the way to becoming that, and we knew at that point that we had to make deep investments in smart markets to get going. We went to Japan. I led our Japanese business for 2 years prior to moving here to the States to lead the North American business. We're now the #1 sports broadcaster in Japan by a country mile, in terms of content, in terms of subscribers, in terms of engagement. We're winning that market. We're very, very successful in Central Europe, in Germany, and Austria, and Switzerland. We're 2 months old in Italy and have a brand awareness akin to Sky Italia, who've been around for decades. We are growing very, very quickly, is the point. So it's a technology that absolutely has benefited from established players like Netflix and Spotify smashing the door down into digitally savvy markets. The US is the home of those products in terms of this is where they really got moving. So absolutely, it's the key technology of the next wave of consumption. But key thing to call out: 65% of our consumption tomorrow night in Boston will be on a big screen TV like the one that I'm streaming to you on there. Our app is a broadcast app. We're not a smartphone business. We're a content business. And we're on every major connected device in your homes, and that includes big screen TVs. So often a misunderstood part of our business that we're a smartphone product. We're not.
No,
we are
it's a great
the
point.
majority of our consumption on big screens.
No, it's a great point. I've got you on my iPhone, but I also watch you on my Amazon Fire Stick. I've got a Roku TV in my house as well, and it's available on all of those. It's interesting, Joe, that you bring up the musical analogy in Spotify, because that's a connection I had not made before, but when you brought it up, that makes total sense, because I'm a big music fan and consumer as well. And what the music industry did not see coming in terms of the evolution in technology, which really just cratered the business, and it's had a hard time coming back from, and has now finally been able to do it to some degree with Spotify and streaming service. You're saying that because you guys had that history and awareness with Spotify and streaming services, you were able to head off making the kind of classic mistake that the music business made, seeing that the pay-per-view model, we were going to evolve out of that old traditional pay-per-view model and not getting caught with your pants down, so to speak, the way that the music industry kind of did, right?
Yeah, I think pay-per-view is one part of it. It's not the only thing. In simple terms, globally, we recognise that pay TV actually wasn't particularly fan-friendly. If you look at what one has to do to access premium sport on pay TV, it's probably commit to a 12-month at least contract, probably a 24-month contract for most established pay TV markets. I'm from the UK, 24 months is pretty standard there. You have to pay significant fees month on month for that. You have to install hardware on your roof of your house and in your living room. On your TV, you generally don't access that on multiple devices. You're locked to watching it in one place. Especially young people, but people in general, sports fans in general, don't want to do that anymore. They don't do that for TV anymore. They have Netflix, they have Amazon Prime. They don't do that for music anymore. They don't have CD racks or vinyl racks on the wall like my parents did when I was growing up. It doesn't exist in households anymore. They have apps that are flexible. So if you move home, it doesn't matter. You take your apps with you on a login. As soon as you get your new Wi-Fi, you're in. Pay TV and sport in particular, was the last bastion of traditional media to react to that. And we saw that in 2014, and we've been in sort of accelerating to course correct that ever since. And the US is just the latest market we're coming to do that. So it's something that's been done elsewhere. We're just applying it to sport in an aggressive way, and it's working.
And I would also think, Frank, I know that some foreign countries, depending on the country, Princey was mentioning this before we went on air, have trouble getting Bellator or seeing certain events and things like that. So with this, you're probably bypassing a lot of country-to-country broadcast problems by being able to, be accessible anywhere the internet goes.
Multi-territorial, like.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Joe. Does this mean that all DAZN content will be available in the UK?
No, it doesn't. So the deal we've done with the Golden Boy guys and Canelo is global. So DAZN,
the Golden Boy,
the company that owns DAZN, is a media business beyond DAZN. Like, we do more than just DAZN. That company owns now the global rights to those fights. In all of the markets that DAZN is in, we will grant those rights to the DAZN broadcast. So the US, obviously, Italy, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Japan, the 7 markets we're in, and Canada, they'll take that content. We'll then also run a sales process now where our rights guys will go and speak to companies like Sky Sports, like BT Sport in the UK, and make deals for those rights. They'll do that internationally. We'll be in a lot more markets at the end. Well, this time next year, we'll be in a number of more markets than we are in now. We've got a very aggressive growth plan, and this content will obviously naturally feed into those market launches. So for the 15th of December, we're not going to launch any more markets before that date. So we'll carry the content in the 7 markets we're in, and we'll sell the rights to international broadcasters, as we have been doing for a number of years, and we do with other properties. We work with leading rights holders around the world to do that internationally. So
what about original content, Joe? Because I also noticed that you guys seem to be doing a lot of not just, the fights themselves, but leading up to the fights, preview shows, analysis, things like that. Is that also something you guys kind of have your eye on developing so that new subscribers to DAZN, or existing subscribers for that matter, have a way to really kind of invest in the build-up to a fight through original content?
100%. And just because we're a new way of delivering content doesn't change the fact that people want to build up a hype around a fight and engage with it prior to the content. So we're working out exactly what we do this weekend and early next week, but we'll be producing a series of shows building up to the Canelo fight on the 15th. And more generally for the business, it's a really important way that we can engage our subscribers when we have days and weeks with limited content on the platform live. For me, I don't really see any difference between live, on demand, original content. I just want to get subscribers in and keep them engaged, watching content that they enjoy. And if we produce that ourselves, we buy it from someone else. I don't really care, to be honest. It's the same principle. So it's a big investment area for us, and one will really ramp up in 2019 for sure.
Well, before we let you go, Joe, I have to ask you this question. I don't know if you can share these numbers with me or not, but
probably not.
Did you guys see a spike in subscriptions over this past weekend when my broadcast partner Frank Mir was doing analysis on back-to-back Bellator cards? Was there any in the boardroom? Was there any chatter about that?
I have to get into the data team and on that specific one. I'll come back to you on it.
Okay.
What I would say is, though, we've seen obviously a massive jump in brand awareness. We're going to massive part of working with someone like Canelo that, as an ambassador for us now, that's a huge benefit to our business. Look, this is the start for us. We're not just going to be a fight sports broadcaster in the US. This is obviously another fight sports deal for us, but we'll announce before the end of the year a major deal that will see us further invest in the US from a content perspective in a non-fight sports category. That's phase 2, I'm calling it, of our launch into the US. The US is the only market right now that's so focused on one set of sport rights, being fight sports. Japan, I'm biased because I helped build it, but I think DAZN Japan is the best offering of sports content of any broadcast platform in the world in the sports space. Longer term, that's our ambition everywhere we go. We're not going to have all rights in the US next week. We're not naive to that, but we are on a journey where we're not going to stop at just fight sports. Delighted to add Canelo, but we need to add more content that fills the rest of the year and engages different groups of content subscribers and fans. So you'll hear a lot more from us in the next few months on that.
Well, congratulations, Joe, on the massive splash you've made. And as fight fans ourselves, it's really good to have DAZN available to us. And Frank, your ability to now be able to fight on an app like that and be available to so many more people. And, Joe, we appreciate you. We're sorry we ambushed you with an interview as soon as you got off an international flight. Appreciate you making some time for us. All right, Joe Markowski has been our guest. He is the Executive Vice President for North America of DAZN. That's DAZN.com. Go check it out, and you'll be up to speed on what's up. Thanks again for the time, Joe. We look forward to visiting with you again.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Cheers.
Clear? Okay. Nice. All right. Got that done.
Did he say they were in Mexico?
I did not hear Mexico.
I didn't hear Mexico.
They better. Shit.
Yeah, they sent Canelo.
They will be soon, though, won't they?
Yeah.
They got to be. If they got Canelo, that's Mexico right there.
Well, I guess Mexico's technically North America. So
do you know 2 years ago?
Is it North America or is it Central America?
No, it's North America.
It's North.
Yeah.
North America is Mexico, Canada,
In the U.S., yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and Alaska. But I guess you guys own that anyway.
Yeah. All right, so we pick it up from here?
yeah, and I rolled the whole time
Yeah,
because
just keep
that's
rolling.
rolling.
That's fine. Okay, here we go. What Frank finishes you on. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. All right, nice visit there with the Executive Vice President for North America of DAZN. All right, back to Mum Talk. Where were we? Where were we on the 11 things non-Texans needed to know? Give me back to the list here.
I think we only made it to number 9 or 8.
Okay, Frank, what was the biggest revelation so far? You said you were learning a lot.
that this shit even exists.
Okay.
Was my biggest revelation.
I had no idea this was purely a Texan thing, but I guess so.
You know, and I was very kind of antisocial in high school. I had a few friends and stuff, but for the most part, I never even walked on my graduation. So like, I think I went to one school dance my whole high school career.
By the way, that would be very Frank Mir at his graduation when they announce his name and he's just in his chair. He's like, "Can you just throw it over here? Just toss the diploma."
He needs
over
entrance
here.
music to stand up. You know that.
Yeah.
Richard,
It was too much energy for something that everybody else was going to get to do too, and that's just not my thing.
All right. So you think you went to one dance?
Yeah. So I mean, when people talk about stuff, like, I'm like, wait a minute, is homecoming where you're supposed to wear the same shirt as your girlfriend? Like, I still do that mistake. You guys have that, right? Where the girls have to wear the same shirt as the boys?
Well, here's the crazy thing. I don't know about high school, but in my house, my girlfriend and I sometimes share very similar wardrobe. Like, we have a particular pair. We have 2 pairs of maroon pants that are so similar. And that we have to look at sometimes and be like, okay, is this your pair or my pair? And are you wearing them?
Does anybody else around the table share the same issues?
No, I never had that problem.
No. We also have the same thing that happens with concert shirts. So, you're wearing your Anthrax shirt today? Okay, I won't wear mine tonight. We have that happen.
I can see that being more of a common problem.
Yeah. Sometimes when we're at the show, we'll be like, okay, which design are you getting? Because we're going to do the thing again where we get the same one, and then we have to balance it. Yeah. But back to mom talk. Okay. Where else are we here? What's next, Frank? You give us where are we at? Number 8.
We realized what mums was short for, didn't we? That was a revelation.
Oh, chrysanthemum. Yeah, that's the actual flower. Okay. What's next there, Frank?
Let's see. Mums aren't complicated, but not everyone is crafty enough to make their own. In reality, stuff you need to make them doesn't cost much, but some people want to skip the hassle and just pay for a pre-made mum. I kind of like fucks the point, right?
See, as an English guy, like, just reading that phrase.
Pre-made mum.
Not everyone's crafty enough to make their own.
Yeah, right. So
isn't that like if what's that joke? It's like, you marry a girl that already has a kid or something, like a dated girl. It's like someone else's saved game.
Oh yeah, I've never heard that before.
You never heard that before? I saw that one. It made me laugh because my wife has a son from a previous marriage, right? So I saw that one time, and I was like, I laughed and was like kind of crying too. Those jokes that are funny, but you realize they hit really home.
That's funny. So I didn't even know people made them themselves. I thought this was something you always went to the florist for. But it says up here, in some cases they cost between $60 to $300. Wow. Yeah. All right, number 7, Frank.
It ain't cheap to electrify a mum.
This mic's a little hot.
This has added the fact that we're having the English turn on the.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can put LED lighting in mums. I didn't know many folks doing this back when I was in high school. But nowadays, if you really want to impress your date, the latest in lighting technology will help you do just that.
Okay, I don't remember any lit up mums when I was a kid.
I don't think they had. You probably had to stay plugged in your era.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long extension cord all the way.
That was before the portable battery pack.
Either that or it was like the size of a bag phone, like one of those old.
Yeah, it's like a suitcase.
I had one of those, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had a bag phone that was. I mean, it had a shoulder strap. It looked like something you carried in Vietnam.
That was the original one, right?
Yeah.
The briefcase one. I remember I was playing cricket once, and there was a guy he was like quite middle class compared to us, and we always used to call him Fat Wallet. That was his name, Fat Wallet. So when Fat Wallet walked on with a briefcase once, and he pulled out one of those mobile phones, and he was walking around the cricket field with him, we thought we just wanted to be like that guy, but
one of those old brick phones. Like
I remember the first time I seen the brick phone. Mm-hmm. MASH used to play all the time as a kid, right? Yeah. So I remember seeing them talk on those walkie-talkies. Right, Well, I think at the time it was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I don't think I was in school yet. Mm-hmm. And I just remember, I'm holding my dad's hand. We're in the line at the bank, and a guy walks in wearing that phone. And it kind of gave me like a little bit of a shock. I'm like, oh shit, is that an army guy? You know what I mean? Helicopters, bullets, You
used to see, this was in the probably mid to late 80s. You would see guys come into like a restaurant or something, and they'd have the brick phone, but they'd also have, there was this period of time where people would steal your car stereos, and so they started making stereos that you could pull out.
Oh, yeah,
the entire thing would come out. It would be like the size of
really, I never knew that.
Yeah, like a DVD player.
So I remember,
or you know what? Maybe
when I
like,
was in high school, everybody had the detachable face off your CD.
Well, there was that too.
So you detach the face.
I was more you could pull it out.
Yeah, this was the whole thing. It was about the size. It was like the size of a lunchbox. So you'd see a guy come in, and ironically, back then, this was looked at as like Princey just said, a man of privilege. Is he's coming in with a lunchbox-sized stereo in one hand and a brick phone in the other, and set those down on the table
what
at
year did those
TGI
come out?
Fridays.
Because I'll be able to figure out how old I was when I first saw
I'd say
them.
like 1990, maybe.
Oh, okay, so I was a little bit
91.
older then. I was probably like 11 or 12 then.
Yeah. Where are we at, Mikey? Oh, you're looking up brick phone?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, get a little visual there. Yeah, yeah.
Hold on, there you go, Wikipedia.
Yep. Yeah, it basically looks like that one. What that? Oh, that's there. They sell a toy version now. Is that what it is?
People are that now like niche and chic that they've
Yes.
actually gone back to brick phones, haven't they? Because woe betide they would have an app that would make their life easier.
Yeah, right,
So,
right. Yeah, look at that thing. Oh my gosh.
1983.
Can anyone read that? I can't read that far.
1983.
Oh.
83?
Yeah, yeah. First one. All right.
Well, shit, I don't know.
Go back to the.
They were like
model
car
list there and
phones then,
finish
though.
that
Remember
up.
when they had
Yeah.
those in like Mercs and
Oh, yeah.
BMWs? They had those type of car phones.
Elvis had it. Like, I mean, I remember seeing some of his old cars where he would have a car phone. He even had a TV in there. I mean, that was the early 70s, but gosh, I mean, you know, there's probably 4 or 5 people that have those back then. I mean, there's a few of them, yeah.
And then Eastern, like in, I don't know if it's the same in America, but like still phones in hotel bathrooms. I can never wrap my head around that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like
There's still
payphones, yeah.
No, like how you go into when you're in the hotel room,
Right.
and if you're on the commode,
Yeah.
sometimes
Oh,
they'll have
by
a
the toilet. Sure.
Mode.
Yeah.
the
The
toilet.
WC. Yeah.
I was trying to be classing it up a little bit for the show, but anyways, when you're on the shitter and also and the phone's there, so you could,
Yeah.
that's the place I never talk on the phone.
Yeah.
I've never
That's
answered.
where I talk most on the phone.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're ever speaking to me, just have that visual now.
That's
Yeah.
because you're too busy playing Clash of Clans. That's what you're doing.
I hate to break everybody the news, but when I'm in the bathroom with the door locked for a few minutes, Clash of Clans not first on my priority. I have my phone, but
There is a clash.
You're helping Mikey's bottom line.
Yes.
All right. Keep going there. Let's see. So so see, look at these old pictures.
Takes
I
for
think
a
I
long
took
time.
one of those girls to homecoming one year. One of these right here.
What year did you go to
She
homecoming?
murdered everybody at the homecoming.
Yeah.
Those two.
I mean, I didn't actually go
What
to
year did you graduate again?
88. I didn't go to any. I don't know. I didn't go to any
I
actual.
was, what was I, 9 years old?
Yeah. I didn't go to any actual football games, but I did the pomp and circumstance this bit. Like,
Did you have a girlfriend all throughout high school?
not the same one, but yeah.
But you always had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Have you always been that guy? You have a girlfriend, and I mean, obviously we're
Give her the
friends.
girlfriend
and,
experience.
and you have a
That's right, yeah.
shitload of friends. You
Yeah.
fucking know everybody, like, but you have good friends, like Chan,
Uh-huh.
that that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But you always seem like, are you always that guy that just has the?
The girlfriend guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. The thing about interesting that was about high school was that the first part of high school, I had high school girlfriends, but then I started playing in a band, and the band that I was in, I had guys that were like my dad's age in the band. So every weekend, I'm out playing
So
in
you became
bars
a
and
milf killer
stuff.
over there.
Like, yeah, the cocktail waitresses. So that became
slaying him with that.
Well, because the thing is, they didn't realize I wasn't old enough to be in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was in a bar where people are really supposed to be 21 to be in there to begin with. So then you're talking about graduate
All those
level.
pedophiles out there that were unwillingly, they didn't realize that they were
Yeah.
assaulting a minor. No?
Yeah. I remember, I mean, I was probably 17, something like that, playing in a bar. And I remember the first time that a waitress came up to me, put a drink down in front of me, and said, "That woman over at the bar bought you that." And the crazy thing is, number one, I don't drink, so I wasn't going to drink it. But the other thing was just the concept of that cliche. Yeah, there's a
I just
woman,
can't believe a woman bought you a drink.
Right, there's a woman
what I
sitting
can't believe.
at a bar at the bar.
How'd you handle the situation?
Well, I told the waitress that I don't drink alcohol, but, tell her thank you. And then I watched there was this weird confusion where the waitress went back over. She leans over to the woman. The woman was like, what? You know, you can see the look on her face or whatever. But then she came over and talked to me, so it still accomplished its goal.
Did you turn down a drink and still seal the deal?
Yeah.
Nice.
The power of a guitar right there.
That just shows how important it is to be in a band.
Yeah, I'm like, and then I'm like, hang out here. I got to go up and rock for 45 minutes. I'll be back, pick you up later.
Yeah, because the definition of, like, you know, the guy's a nerd, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, do nothing. You fit that definition more than any friend I have, anybody I even know.
Yeah.
But you look like you're the worst one of the group. They're like, well, what are you guys doing? Shit, Richard must be that much worse. I'm like, no, believe it or not.
'Tis my dichotomy.
What's crazy for me is to hear, like, of people being in a bar at 17 and drinking for the first time, because obviously at home the legal age of drinking is much younger. So we were like growing sideburns and shaving off like bum fluff off our chins at like the age of like 12, 13 to get served and all that. And all that
right,
stuff,
yeah.
I think my dad took me in the pub when I was like 11 and 12 and was forever feeding drinks there. Yeah.
Were you the one that had this conversation with me? We have so many talks sometimes, but when we were talking about it would actually lower adolescent rape if the U.S. went back to 18.
No.
Well, no, listen, okay.
Adolescent rape is like at the forefront of my mind and conversation.
Yeah, right.
Usually.
No, listen. I don't know who I was speaking to, but it was somebody with English background from there. And we were having a discussion that the reason why that it's better to have a drinking age of 18. He goes, look, if a girl who's 17 or 18 goes out drinking, she's going to go to one of our pubs, she's going to be drinking. It's a lot harder to take advantage of a girl at a bar, get her in the car, walk her out, all her friends are watching. Whereas that same girl now is in U.S., in college. Yep. She's 18 years old. She's now at someone's house.
I agree with that.
Drinking beers, partying. A lot easier to go ahead, oh, she's passed out. Well, there's a bed
Bedroom's
6
right
feet there,
yeah.
and with a door that I can shut it.
Yeah, no.
And because of the nature that we're all kids doing this shit, there's no adult really there to sit there and go, what the fuck are you doing? Whereas if that were to be at a bar, at the very least, even if you don't have a bouncer, you have a bartender and a bar back watching, looking.
Older adults.
There's adults there going, hey, wait a minute. No, you ain't taking her home. She can't even fucking stand upright. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I think if you suppress something as well, like even though like kids stay kids for longer here, they're not subjected to like what we are as children perhaps, but I think like the longer you suppress something, the more it becomes alluring for you to even like, for me to hear the fact that someone's 17 and isn't thought of as an adult, it like blows my mind.
No, here it's the craziest thing in the drinking age. There's a few laws that I wish that the only reason why people don't think they're crazy is because they grew up.
Yeah, it's all you've ever known.
It's like the story of Santa Claus coming down the thing. You know, most people when they're 6 years old doesn't think that's crazy because all their friends that go to school believes in the same shit, right? So it's like, oh, that's not crazy at all. It's not till you get older and you're like, that's kind of fucking nuts.
But isn't that all laws and indoctrination? Because you all fall
There's
into
a large part, but then there is a part that's critical thinking. You go, hey, we do this, but there is a reason why to do it. And if you want to think about it critically, it'll still make sense to you. But like the drinking age, it's like, wait a minute, you're 18 years of age. You can fucking vote for who's going to be the president of the United States. You can go and fucking take a bullet for the country, join the armed services, but we don't trust you with a fucking beer. You know what I mean? Like under adult supervision, the same thing that a 21-year-old.
I bet these same people got antidepressants. I bet these same people have had pain pills by the time they're 21.
Oh, much young.
Oh, yeah, we have no problem medicating.
Of course, because
in fact, actually, it's pushed in. I don't know how in the UK you guys are, but here in the US,
we're catching you guys up.
I think now there's more of an awareness of it, but it got for a while there that if a teacher had a problem with a student, and I'm generalizing it, but it wasn't uncommon for a teacher to look over the kid and go, okay, I'll report you to the dean. The dean, he has ADD. So that way they could just drug the child.
So they could administer them with Adderall, like the teacher could actually do that in order.
Well, at least the teacher could point him in that direction.
God bless America.
Because it was much easier to deal with a kid who's medicated than deal with a kid who's maybe has a little bit fucking too much energy, hard to concentrate. Now you're going to have to fucking earn your
maybe
very
the fact
minimum
that a
wage.
kid sat down on a chair isn't for him and he wants to get out there and looks outside all the time because maybe he wants to be outside because that's where he belongs, but instead have a pill, mate, that you're probably going to get addicted to forever.
That is very much U.S. culture.
Or maybe go down the pub, have a beer. Would that be a better?
No, can't do the beer.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, God forbid you fucking smoke marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be a pothead. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Jesus. Yeah. No, I told you that was my problem because, Jennifer was very upset when Whitney Houston died. And everybody, she was there with a bunch of her girlfriends and stuff, and they're sitting there, they're opening up the People magazine, they're trying to get the latest information. And it came out, they're like, oh, Whitney Houston, she had Xanax in her system, this in her system, that, all prescribed by doctors. And then it goes, and marijuana. I'm like, there it is. She was high on weed. I'm like,
That's what got her.
I'm like looking. I'm like, hey, I'm not the biggest proponent of I'm neutral in the department of whether you smoke weed or not. I think it's the same as alcohol, actually healthier.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to tell me that Xanax and antidepressants is
she became the first person in history to die of a marijuana overdose. Yeah, for sure. Well, the actually the number 2 item on the things we need to know about mums is non-Texans list explains
That's the most important part.
Yep, we're still baffled that no other state does this. So there you go. It's only a Texas thing. Okay, had no idea. And I saw one of the other items prior was that they've gotten bigger. And that's the truth, because
everything's bigger in Texas. So
right. But as gaudy as I remember them, this is absurd. I memean, she looks like she's carrying a shield. How's she going to walk around with that all night long?
It kind of looked like Christmas and 4th of July, kind of like a wreath.
I'd expect like a wreath for a virginity, I think. I'd expect for to pull it up and like a penis to come out of it and then it go back down again. That's
Frank, this is what you're missing by not raising your daughter in Texas. You don't get to participate in this nonsense. Well, all right. So just to get the end of the story there. So what was homecoming was a success? Yeah, that means
pretty much. I did try to talk a little bit just because.
Yeah.
In those circles, when you do what I do for a living and you don't speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
People think you're stewing.
People
think you're about to blow a fuse.
Yeah. So I try to be talkative, but then if the conversations are not something that I'm.
It was a success because Bella didn't dance with a man and nobody died.
Yeah, there's that. But you know what? That's this year. Next year, year after that.
That's gonna come.
Yeah. You realize you're gonna face that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be a fun podcast.
I'm going to be back in England for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to need an alibi, dude.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm going to be back in England.
There we go, yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a quick question about that then, since we're on the topic. And you're not there yet, so it may be, I'm asking you to kind of speculate. But what do you think when the inevitability happens where, she goes on the homecoming date or whatever? It's kind of dating training wheels because, even at that point, there's parents taking people to and from and stuff like that. It's not like you're alone with a guy in a car or something like that. But what's the number one thing you think a guy could do to impress you? What's like the number one quality you'd want to see in a young suitor?
Responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think being responsible shows a certain sense of awareness, intelligence, and humility to be responsible. I think it's something a lot of us aren't at a very young age, and myself included. I don't think that I should have been anybody's boyfriend until I was probably into my late 20s, early 30s, because you don't realize the gravity of all your decisions. So I think I would look at them and see, do you take the little things seriously? How is he in school? How is he in his attendance?
Right.
How does he keep up his car? You know what I mean? Those type of things I would look at, and then, when I sit down, eat dinner with him, the same thing I look for in anybody I deal with. How do you treat the waitress? How do you treat the waiter? You know what I mean? What's your personality really like?
Yeah. Yeah, you would have liked the young me. I think I could have impressed you.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm into responsibility because look, I'm no idiot. I don't think that my daughter's going to be 28 years old, getting ready to get married, and on her honeymoon night, going to be losing her virginity. That's just not the way the world is now, not in the society here. Now, at the same time, even though I think sex is a very natural, and I'm not your probably typical American that when you bring up the topic of sex, I freak out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, look, we're all having sex. It's a $1 billion business, pornography on its own. Everybody has a sexuality.
You guys are so weird about body type, but having your body parts out, and you're so prudish and stuff.
Yeah, except when it comes to violence. Then we're all in on violence,
guns,
but we can't be seeing a butt.
I told you my moment that I had that I realized how improper my thinking was when it came to that was I accidentally took. I think I told you the story.
Though, right? You've not changed your thinking by this.
No, I have. When it comes to sexuality, I'm going to the responsibility thing. I'll go on that. But when I first realized that I had a problem, was I accidentally took Bella and Cage to Watchmen. Well, Bella, I think, whenever Watchmen came out, Bella was born in 2003. So I mean, she wasn't very old. And Cage was there, and this was before Ronan was born. So all I saw was the previews for it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool fucking looking movie. I want to go see that."
I know exactly the part you're talking about.
Oh, Jesus, fuck, right? And so I go and I convince Jennifer, who has no fucking clue about that world at all. At least I do read comics and stuff.
Yeah.
I just was never into the Watchmen. I never knew anything about it. It was like something that was like kind of older. You know, I didn't know about. I don't know. I
It was
screwed
a
up.
graphic
Did it
novel.
remind
not
you-
like a
graphic novel.
series,
Did it remind you of your co-host on the show?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Oh,
what the
so
hell
anyways,
it's
there was a fucking reminds me of you, Paul Datson.
I only wish, mate.
Right?
I only wish.
So there's one scene didn't bug me too bad. So anyways, I'm there with my wife, and I have two small children sitting between us. And the blue guy, Dr. Manhattan, he just walks around with his dick hanging out, which that really didn't shock my family because, you know, like I told you, like I'm very nude in the house all the time. It's something I've actually corrected over the years, but, you know, I don't wear clothes at home, you know, so humans' bodies being naked, my children, I didn't freak out about. Like, oh, it's a fucking penis, you know, whatever. But then they had like a sex scene with Mr. Owl guy and whatever the chick's name was, and like they're fucking up in the ship and they're going at it. Like it's a pretty graphic, like holy shit. And then like as she's they're coming, you know, the ship, she steps on the thing to do like, you know, like a little like, you know, the flame shoots out, you know, it's like, you know, I'm like, fuck. So I'm sitting there like covering my daughter's eyes, looking over at Jen wants to fucking kill me. You know, she's looking at me like we look like the biggest scumbags fucking in the world. And I'm like, I didn't know. I swear to God, do you think if I knew that this kind of scene was about to happen, I'd have brought my kids, you know?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and we're watching. Then there's now another scene where a guy has another guy inside of a jail cell and he sticks his arms out, right? The Horseshots guy, right? And he grabs the guy's arms and he basically cuts him the fuck off. So now there's a guy with just stubs bleeding and stuff. And I'm looking up at it. I'm looking and none of us covered the kids' eyes for that. That was completely okay for our children to see. It was like, oh, he's just a guy getting his fucking arms ripped off.
A computer-generated blue penis, that was too much, right?
Yeah. The sex scene was the one that killed. And then I'm sitting there going, fucking sex is natural. You know what I mean? Like, all natural things can be subverted to be unhealthy for somebody. And if you're out there fucking a different partner unprotected every night, it's probably not the healthiest outlook in life.
Sorry, Jesus, while you're over there, but all four of us in this room, we could probably agree to have engaged in sexual acts, right?
Right.
And I know Frank snapped an arm, but I'd like to think none of us have sawn one off.
No.
Unless that's like
and I had that moment where I sat there,
first
you know,
part.
and like I said, I think I spoke to you about this at Pastor. I sat there and was like, I got fucking problems, man. Like, I was okay with my daughter and son seeing at a small age people ripping people's arms off, which that should be more graphic to us. But like, I think Americans, the average American, I would go out on a limb and say, is more comfortable having their children watch a cowboy and Indian scene where a cowboy shoots the Indian falls off the horse. There's no guessing what just fucking happened. You saw a guy hold a gun, go pop, and the fucking other guy falls off the horse and he's on the ground, he's not moving. He fucking shot somebody, right? Like, that's pretty good. But then all of a sudden, two people start making out. We all freak the fuck out. And I am still a part of that crowd, but at least I realize, I'm like, hey, I'm kind of swimming down the wrong end of the stream here. Like, I'd like to turn around. Like, let me get out of this.
Yeah, that's good self-awareness.
You can tell an American go by the white bits. Simple as that.
By the what?
By the tan lines.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's a very American thing, yeah.
Oh, right, because they would be nude beaches in Europe.
But not even nude beaches. It's just people at home are just ballsy. They just don't care. They're like, flop them wobs out wherever.
Right. Or you know, I just like people to stay out of the sun. So when I see tan lines, I think melanoma.
Well, and my argument to that too, like that is another archaic thing where it's like, oh, if I see her breasts, I'll freak out. I'm like, well, that's kind of like the same as like the same guy says that to me. I'm like, but you were just making fun of the Muslim for wearing a burqa because they're protecting sexuality. I'm like, you're just on a different level of the spectrum. But you're still on the spectrum there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're
You are
still
still on
saying
spectrum.
that if she fucking shows her titties, I'm going to lose my shit and go fuck her. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
It is what I call the syndrome of the stripper who calls the all-nude dancer a whore.
Yes.
You know, those like, well, I would do that. I do this, but I would never do that. I'm like, you're talking about the difference of 2 square inches of material here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the thing. Everybody's always got, it's human nature.
It's always
where
the others, right?
You
We
got to
always
figure
don't
out
like the others.
the pecking order,
The
right?
others.
Yeah, I'm
They're
better
always in
than
favor
this
of the
group,
others.
and it's going to make me feel better about myself. So Mikey got married. And, yeah, so tell us.
holy shit, how long did it take us to get back to that?
Well, you know what? It's a journey.
It's, an hour and 18
This
minutes.
podcast is a journey. So it makes sense that we would conclude where we began.
This is drug free.
Yeah, 100%.
You'd think that you know, like looking at you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
right.
truth. They're like, if anybody's watching this, like it took them an hour and 17 minutes to get back to the wedding. Like they're fucking high right now.
There are people, this is their reward for staying with us through the whole podcast, and then we teased them at the beginning, and now they got to hear the conclusion. So Mikey married his longtime girlfriend, Amanda. They've been together 4 years. They got married up at Mount Charleston here just outside of Las Vegas. How many people at your wedding?
Ended up being 44, 42.
It's a pretty good number. That's not exactly a little wedding.
No, it's not little, but at least it's not grotesque.
Yeah. That's nice.
That's about right, I think.
Yeah, it's 42.
Yeah.
Because between the two of you and family,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you know what I mean?
about-
Like
yeah.
that's about right for just
good
having
circle
close
of
people.
people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good circle.
Yeah, yeah. Was it traditional in the sense of like, did you have the minister and the
No, we had just a lack of
like a justice of the peace?
No, he was
Did
a
you do anything with the beard?
no. I put like not gel,
oil?
but like
Beard
oil in it to kind of like calm it down a little bit, like a leave-in conditioner, and like I have some sort. I just call it goop. I don't know what it is. And
Yeah.
I
This
put
is the
that
thing
in
he
there.
spoke most
just-
about.
just
Is
sort of
about
holds
his wedding,
it.
his beard.
We
The whole
don't
beard
have
prep.
Yeah.
we don't have Mikey
I
on.
don't have a beard, man. I'm jealous. Beard envy.
We either need to get a camera for Mikey, or we need to just have a still shot that we throw up on screen when he talks, so people can get
just
the
think
visual.
about in Team America World Police, you know, where the guy changes and they just stick pubes to his face. It's somewhere along there, mate.
Mikey is a big old bear, is what he is. In gay vernacular, Mikey is a big old bear with a big old beard. Yeah. So okay. So
Yeah, we had no, we're both atheists, so we had just a whatever
Just the ordained
minister
yeah.
guy. Yeah. It was actually pretty funny. He's like, "Oh, I'll print out cards for your vows," and we both thought like index cards, but it was full on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
It's like a
outside
scroll.
Yeah, it's outside of Mount Charleston, and he's like 90 years old or something,
Yeah.
super old. So he printed him like the font for him. So like legit people in the back row could like read them.
they can read ahead. They can see what was coming.
They could read-
Spoilers.
Suspense was out
Yeah,
there.
so there's no
This was the other guy because the first guy,
the creeper.
he had
was,
a guy that told him that he was going to write their vows for them.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm gonna
I
write
find
this
it better
song.
when I surprise the couple. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Yeah. He's like, it's usually better for the wedding when it's
Now,
a
see, now,
surprise.
as a dude,
Yeah.
you probably your initial
Yeah,
reaction
whatever,
was like,
mate, that
"Yeah,
sounds
fuck it,
easy. I don't have to
whatever."
write something. Are you going to wear a burqa?
But then you realize that your counterpart will be there, and you're like, "Oh, that's a fucking horrible idea."
Yeah.
All right. So you were happy with your guy you got.
Yep. Knocked it out about 10 minutes. Didn't rain during the ceremony. Rained before. Rained after. Actually hailed before up in the mountains, but it was good. Came in. Everybody ate, and that was about it.
And then you did a honeymoon in Lake Tahoe.
Yep. We drove to Lake Tahoe from Vegas up there, so it was about 8 hours. Took the dogs. Tahoe was beautiful. The drive back
You
sucked.
see it on the south side.
Yeah, we went up. We went up to the Donner Pass.
Oh yeah, did you check that out?
Yeah, we went to the Donner Memorial Museum and everything, and then so we kind of looped back around because there's the Cal Neva Casino
Oh,
We
now
wanted to
that's an interesting story.
that was closed down for renovation.
Yeah, yeah.
So we went up there. So we actually did a lap around the
Yeah.
lake on one of the days, like did the whole thing. But we mostly stayed on the south side. Yeah, that's where our Airbnb was at.
Quick aside on Cal Neva.
Yeah.
You would be fascinated by this, Frank.
This fucker's a history buff.
Cal Neva is a casino, and the reason it's called Cal Neva, CAL for California, Neva for Nevada, is that the casino is on the border.
Oh, I think I've seen pictures
like
of that.
half
the
of
line
it.
goes through the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Through the
Yep.
casino. So half of it's in California, half of it's in
Right.
Nevada. Now, it was owned by Frank Sinatra. And it is the last place that Marilyn Monroe was seen before she went home and OD'd or whatever happened. There's conspiracy theories about that. But Sinatra owned the casino, and there were these bungalows. And he had bungalows. He had one for him, one for the rest of the Rat Pack, so Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., all those guys. And then Marilyn Monroe had one as well. And I've actually stayed in the Frank Sinatra one. I've stayed out there
yeah?
a couple times. It's real interesting. The whole casino underneath it has a whole tunnel system because Sinatra was having gangsters like Sam Giancana, you know, the guy who was running the Chicago mob when JFK was president.
They gave him
and
a
all
start
that.
in his career too, right?
Yeah, exactly. He was on a blacklist of people that were not allowed to be in casinos, right? So, known mobsters could not be in casinos. And when they caught Sam Giancana in that casino, they revoked Frank Sinatra's license to be able to own a casino. But they had that tunnel system it was actually goes back to the bootleggers during Prohibition, so they could run booze literally across state lines. So it's like, if the feds were on you, you could go down in those tunnels and cross underneath the border and hide yourself. And then into the 70s, if you've ever seen the old Dean Martin roasts that he used to do, the old celebrity roast, a lot of those were filmed at the Cal Neva. Yeah, that casino's got some really interesting history to it.
Real quick, on the side, did they just make a movie where that hotel's being? I thought I saw previews to a weird movie in a hotel. Was it?
The
like
El
I have
Royale.
no fucking clue what the movie's about.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like Bad Times at the El Royale.
But did I see a line through that building? Was they trying to symbolize it's on the state line? Or
I don't know. I don't think I saw the preview.
Maybe
for
I'm
it.
mixing shit
I know
up
what
in
you're
my
talking
head,
about,
dude.
though. Yeah.
I think you're right, Frank.
Yeah.
Let me try to find a picture.
But a nice honeymoon in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
And now you're. Let me ask you this: do your pit bulls, Pinky and Kona, do you sense that they feel less of a stigma now that their parents are not living in sin? That it is a proper marriage?
No, they don't. Give a shit.
That has not phased them. All right, very good.
No, they were. We got a little. Some people were a little surprised that we brought them up, but we're also like, kind of wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely.
And also like paying to have them boarded or anything like that. So
they got to go along on the honeymoon.
Yeah. I get now. I'm not one of those parents to get annoyed too much when somebody is very attached to their dog, because I'm attached to my dog, and I could only imagine that if I don't have children,
right.
Your dog there is a strong emotional attachment. Shit, I mean, I still can't own a Great Dane because the one that passed away. I mean, I still fucking choke up when I see pictures of it. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So I get it. So I don't know why people don't think that, like, why wouldn't you guys bring your dogs?
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because actually, before we wrap up, I got to tell you this quick story. And I was going to bring this up on our last episode that we taped over at the house, but I couldn't because my Jennifer was there, and I knew she'd get all emotional.
I don't even want to ask you questions about it. I feel like if you notice that I've treated your dog dying, Housey, just like I would treat if your son died. Like, it's kind of those things like, if you want to talk about it, I'm here to talk about it.
No, I know.
If you don't want to bring it up, I ain't saying shit.
I will tell you something, and this is just a recommendation to anybody out there that listens. This is no paid endorsement or any kind of thing like that, but just one of the few bright experiences I had, I guess as good as it could be under the circumstances, that I think is just really important to share. So if you didn't hear a couple episodes ago, we have 4 dogs, and one of them fell suddenly ill over the last couple of weeks, and he was in the ER for about 11 days, but he lost his battle, and so we lost our little Halsey, who was a Corgi, Jack Russell Beagle kind of concoction. He was our Napoleon. He was like our little man. He lived with the pit bulls, but he envisioned himself a big dog as well. He's good. He was a great guy and a lot of personality. And Jennifer has just been completely distraught at his loss. But what happened this is a story I couldn't tell the other night. So, 10 days in the ER, and they've done everything they can for him, and it gets to that point where you have to have the conversation with the doctor, and the doctor's letting you know. They don't ever tell you what to do, but they say, listen, we can keep him alive longer, but it's going to get to the point where it's almost like having somebody on life support. It's going to get to the point where he's not really going to recover from this. We can drag this out as long as you want, but it's not with the goal in mind of him recovering. So we realized we were going to have to let him go. We're going to have to put him down. So I said, okay, well, what are our options here? And they said, well, we can do it here at the hospital, and you can be with him and all that kind of stuff. But our pet sitter recommended this in-home service. It's actually hospice care for terminally ill pets, but they can also, if you have to put your pet down, they can do it in the home. Yeah, euthanasia, they can do it in the home. So it's called Lap of Love, and I guess it's a national organization, and what they do is they have certain vets that they partner with in each major city. So I look it up, I call them and everything, and this vet, I mean, he's a veterinarian. He came to the house. His name was Dr. Toby Goodman. And I give him a shout out because this was, the more I think about this, such a warm moment that we had in the face of all the rest of it. You know, poor little Halsey had been in the hospital. We had been up there morning and night for 10, 11 days seeing him in there. And, you know, when you think, you know, you guys, when you think about your dogs, all the happy moments are at home. You know, you think about all the good moments at home. Well, now, the last 10 or 11 days, all you've done is seen him under this, like, you know, fluorescent lighting in a hospital and the tubes and all that kind of stuff. So you know, we probably could have saved a couple of $100 doing it at the vet. I mean, this wasn't super cheap. I think the whole thing ran about $600 for this, but it was so worth it because what happened is, one, we were able to bring him home. So we get him home, we get him in his little bed, and he's up on our bed and everything in his normal spot. So Dr. Toby comes to the house. Now, I'm out, just to paint the picture for you, I'm sitting out in front of the house waiting for him. My thought was, because Jennifer was so emotional, my thought was, I'm going to prepare him for what he's going to see. You know, I'm going to be the composed one, and I'm going to be, listen, Dr. Toby, you know, my girlfriend is very emotional inside, and she's curled up on the bed with Halsey. Well, Dr. Toby gets out of the car. I get about 5 words out of my mouth, and then I break down. So I'm standing on the doorstep going, I know I seem composed, but my girlfriend is very emotional, you know, and he's watching me fall apart, you know. This guy, though.
But, I mean, he has to understand.
Oh, no, I'm sure. You know, he sees it.
Yeah, but everybody's upset. From
the get-go, the guy was like, he was so warm and he was so compassionate. He just had this demeanor about him like, I mean, I want to say like Mr. Rogers, but kind of like if I had to draw a comparison, everybody will know. Just like that. And he was like, he's just talking to you like this. And he's like, oh, I know what, you know, we see this all the time. And he said, you know, we're not in a rush. He's like, you know, I'm going to be here for as long as you need me to be here, you know, and we'll just take our time. And, you know, he gets you know, that the first injection they give him basically like a tranquilizer, you know, and so he's like, he's not going to feel anything, and we're all just going to take this time and make it positive. So he comes in. Now, you think about this guy is a total stranger. He's having to walk into your home, and everybody in the house is a total emotional wreck. I mean, imagine a stranger walking into your house at the worst possible time where everybody's beside themselves, and he's somehow going to, under the circumstances, make things better. And this guy did. Like, he comes into the bedroom, and he pets Halsey, and we talk for a while, and he's just got like this calming voice, and he's explaining to Jennifer, like, you know, it's this happens, and he just kind of goes on this wild magic carpet ride, you know, in his mind. That'll be what he's feeling, you know, with the tranquilizer, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, the guy probably spent, you know, 40, 45 minutes in there just chatting and calming everybody down. And then, you know, when he passes, he had like a little basket he put him in, and then he covered him up in a blanket. And he was like, even to the point where he's talking to Jennifer, and he's like, you know, and just so you know, I'm going to take him to because he was privately cremated. And he said, you know, I will take him myself right now to the crematorium. He said, just so you know, he's going to be in his little basket, and he's going to be riding up in the front seat, shotgun with me. He said, I just consider him my little passengers, you know, and he's right with me. So it's like he's on a car ride. And it was like I mean, I can't do the guy justice, but it was like, the more I thought about it,
he had like covered before you even asked the question.
It was the best. You know what it was? It was the best $600 I ever spent. Because as upset as Jennifer was, it meant so much to be able to bring him home.
Peace of mind,
and that's the last moment you have. It's not in the hospital. It's not in the cold room or whatever. It's right there on the bed where he was. And this guy had this. It's a talent. Like, it's crazy.
I guess in order to like even envisage such a business, you have to have a special type of demeanor around people and pets, and then to follow it through, you have to be a certain type of person. Right?
Yeah,
because I assume they've probably been through a similar experience themselves, so they found out what hurt them the most in order for them to. So for me, that's such like a niche market.
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
It?
And I think about it, and it was, you know, in the moment, I had to kind of process it after he left, like in the days after, you know, because it was, then his ashes came home a few days later, and that was another emotional thing, and, you know, Jennifer's been emotional about all that. But you know, as I processed it days later, I thought, God, that guy had such a gift for that. And, you know, even me, like, because I am usually like super composed and everything, and I was thinking, I was bawling my head off in front of this complete stranger that walked into my house 20 minutes prior, and somehow he's making me feel better about the whole thing. You know what I mean? It was just like, I don't know that I have seen too many more examples just in daily life of someone being able to make a horrible situation somehow better than it would have been without them, you know? And I was just so glad that we did that at home. But, man, that guy had such a gift for doing that. So I only say this as a, you know, like I said, it's not I paid full price. So it wasn't an endorsement, a paid endorsement or anything. But if there's anybody out there who ever faces that situation and you have the couple extra $100 to maybe do it that way as opposed to in the hospital, man, whew, if it's anything like what that experience was, I would totally recommend it. You know, and then we got him, these little lashes are in this, like, cedar box at home and everything. And by the way, a big thank you to Mrs. Muir. I don't know if you know about this or not, who gave us a beautiful, it's like a rainbow dream catcher with a little paw print charm on it for Halsey. So she gave that to Jennifer. We appreciate that. So anyway, yeah. So there was ending it on that note, but I wanted to just tell that story because, boy, that guy, he helped me. And I was like, I didn't realize how much he helped me.
He'd be an
until
interesting
days
talk
later.
to. I wonder if we could have him come on.
He's in Vegas. You know what? Maybe I'll reach out to him and see if he would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, advertising for him.
Yeah, and tap into someone's mind. And,
yeah, because, I mean,
you
think that he walked into a room that was uncomfortable with you and Jen.
Yeah.
Imagine if Jen was 14 years old.
Oh, God, yes. And you know
You're
he's
coming to
it.
take some 14-year-old girl's pet or boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boy or girl, but, you know, as a young adult dealing with loss like that, and you know what I mean? Like, and now he walks into that situation. Like, how does he, I don't do well when I see children cry.
Right.
It fucks me up.
I don't do well at seeing other, like, grown men cry.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets, you know, if you're watching, like, Extreme Home Makeover and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then the dad cries. You go, what's he crying for?
Yeah, crying disarms the fuck out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
of
I don't
course,
have, like, if you want to know, like, the secret to fucking beating me at anything, just start crying. I'm fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I can't deal with it.
Yeah, I hope that works in my fight on December 1st because that's my backup plan.
Backup plan A, that.
Well, you know what? I'll reach out to it and see about that because you're absolutely right. And, you know, just this closing thought. Even in polarizing times, I mean, you know, on everybody's got the different political opinions and it's tribal and everybody's fighting or whatever. You know, the thing that always brings everybody together are pets. Everybody, you know, I've got people, like, you just look at my Facebook page, all the right wingers yelling at all the left wingers and everything.
Unless you're Putin and Merkel. I didn't think it worked out too well.
Oh, yeah. But you start talking about dogs, and that's a uniter, you know, and it's kind of like.
If you're a single guy and you have a puppy or a baby.
Yeah.
You've smashed it, haven't you? That's how you bring worlds together.
It's great bait, right?
That's how you bring worlds together with dogs and children.
Single guy at the dog park. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, it was it just really impacted me. I mean, the days that the more I thought about it, because it kept coming into my mind, you know? And I was like, damn, that guy. How about what that guy did? You know what I mean? And then just the fact that we were able to do it at home.
I wish I'd have known about that.
Yeah, to have the.
At least I know with Thule, so.
Yeah. Well, everybody, you know.
The other poor dog.
Baby, that's her dog.
Nah.
Hey, I forgot to mention on the last time I talked about the joke that was played on me. I didn't want to finish.
Oh, yeah, from Jay Glacier, right?
They just got me because in between, what do? I'm busting out my phone. I'm playing Clash of Clans. Right. But, like, the lights would turn off, so I would know, okay, we're off air. We're, you know, going in between rounds every now and then. So, I mean, if someone got knocked out, I put my phone down, get ready, button my jacket. Okay, go. You know, and I can hear them talking, okay, this session, we're going to talk about Fedor is going to be punching you in the face, Frank. Are you okay with that? Yeah, no problem. I got something. You know what I mean? Like, no big deal. So all of a sudden we go on air, and they're like, no, we're not going to go now. We're going to throw right to we're behind on time. Cool. So then I remove my earplug, and I'm sitting there and I break out Clash of Clans. And so I'm so engrossed in my game, I didn't see that Jay signaled over to Josh. They both grabbed their mics. And then they start going, so now we're back here.
That's awesome.
And so I go, oh, shit. I almost throw my phone and freak out. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, shit. And then I look up and they just start laughing. Okay. Like, we're not on air, dude.
Now, was that before or after I sent you that text? Because Frank and I were
texting.
That was
after. Your text came first.
Okay. Because we were texting while Frank was doing the broadcast, and he just said, how's it looking and stuff like that. And I just said, you're looking really good. I said, just you don't get caught on air playing Clash of Clans. Ha ha ha. And he writes back, did I get caught? Like, yeah, he was playing. He just didn't. He thought maybe.
I'm like, I didn't know if one of maybe the secondary B cameras.
Yeah.
Like,
And when after in between the shows at Bellator, I'm sure you might have painted the story, but we had to travel between Connecticut and New
the bus.
York.
I heard about the bus. Yeah.
And we were about getting off. We're about 3 hours maybe into a journey, and turn around, and Frank was being very, very hostile to any request. And his response as a 39-year-old male was this: "I've lost almost 20 battles on the run. Will you just leave me alone while I win one?" that was what a grown ass. That was a grown man at 4 a.m. in the morning. That in between the two-time heavyweight champion of the world, in between broadcasting for Bellator, was like shouting.
I was
at
on a
everybody.
losing streak, man. I was pissed off.
Yeah, that Clash of Clans is like a keychain with a baby. Like if you ever have
That was Clash Royale that I was.
Yeah, if they get fussy, you just put the Clash of Clans in front of them. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we appreciate you being part of this one. Thanks to Joe Markowski, the Executive Vice President of North America for DAZN, for joining us. Princey sitting in again. And you want social media followers? Should we plug that for you, Princey, or do you like people to not know where you are? Okay.
I'm better off unseen. But no, you can follow me on Instagram at Carl Princegram.
Okay. Carl Princegram?
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever.
Oh,
See what you did there?
Yeah,
I was on the toilet thinking about nothing, and it came out, mate.
Carl Princegram. We also have an Amazon banner on the front of phoneboothfighting.com. It doesn't cost you any more, good listener, than it would otherwise to click through that banner and shop on Amazon, but it benefits us financially, right, Frank?
It does. A small click on there transports you to the Amazon page, so that with all your shopping for wants and needs, we get a small percentage. It comes back to us here at the show, and it's no extra cost to you.
Especially with this holiday season coming up. Everybody's going to be shopping on Amazon. Why not benefit your favorite podcast by going to Phone Booth Fighting and clicking through the AmazonBanner.com to do your shopping? That's what Porno Mikey did the other day. He bought himself some...
A wife.
I wouldn't be surprised. I've never searched that on Amazon. It might be available.
Wasn't that back page?
Yeah, right. Before Amazon killed their business. Porno Mikey clicked through there and helped out the show as well. Basically paid for himself for the week, probably, by doing that. All right. Also, iTunes. Be sure to look up Phone Booth Fighting in iTunes. Click on the 5 stars. Give us a 5-star review. That helps us with our ratings, and write a favorable line or two in the review section, if you will. And that doesn't cost you anything either, but it definitely benefits us, and we would appreciate it. Frank, tell them how to follow us on social media.
Real quick, and then next week I actually have my schedule for Europe. I'll be going back here November 3rd. So Princey has it all figured out. We'll announce the date so I can... He knows them now. I just don't want to go through it on the show.
Wait, what are we doing?
My dates for going back to Europe. You know, I had to skip out on the London trip.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to go back and make it up right now, November 3rd to
just leading up to, because we have ACB on November 10th, so they're going to spend that week in training. And
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so we'll talk about that on the next episode.
So anyways, Facebook, Instagram, Phone Booth Fighting, Snapchat, and Twitter, just Phone Booth Fight.
That's it. For Frank Mir, for Princey, for Porno Mikey over there doing a great job producing. We appreciate you guys being with us. I'm Richard Hunter, and we'll see you right back here next time on Phone Booth Fighting.